Hey Bloom fam, I'm Tae.
I'm Taish.
And we are Living the Bloom.
Today we have Miss Patricia Opurum with us.
Hey,
Patricia.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for
so
joining
much.
us. I'm so excited. This is my sister, my friend. I met Patricia back in 1999.
Oh my gosh, yes.
99.
From the 99s and the 2000s.
Yes.
Plus,
And
When y'all were 2 years old.
look,
exactly. Exactly.
yes. And I when I first met Patricia, I was like, she's so calm.
Yeah.
And me, I'm proud like, what the fuck I'm sitting, baby? What you gonna do? What
25 letters on my desk.
And Patricia was so calm and poised. And I was just like, who is this child? So I've watched her grow up into an amazing woman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like
A boss chick.
A boss chick for real. Like
Yes.
for real. We talking about executive
Yep.
of a major oil and gas company,
Yep.
operations. That part alone,
That by itself, that's a hard thing.
that I love to give my friends their flowers, and I am so proud of you. You are so amazing. You inspire me every single day. I love hearing about your accomplishments. It's just I don't have celebrities that I look up to. I'm blessed to have friends and family that I know in real life, because I don't know what them mofos be doing.
They're like, hey, did you see such and such online? She's
But
like,
let me
girl,
tell you
I
about
don't
my
know what
friend. Like my friend opened up a salon. So now
Kanye, she got, girl, I don't know what Kanye got going on, but girl, did you see that Patricia is coming on the show? And baby, she is killing the game.
she's killing it. So
Yes.
not only is she an executive, but she also is owner of Eternal Spa. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into it. But Patricia, going back to the little girl Patricia, growing up, Northside, Fofo. Did you imagine like this is where you would be?
So first I want to say thank you. You're making me blush. And you are amazing. I always tell people you're like one of my closest friends. So love you, love you, love you.
Love you too, honey. Thank you.
Yes. No. Absolutely not. I didn't even think I was going to college.
I'll tell
She
say this
tells me
story
that
all the time.
Yes. So I had a teacher that would not give up on me. And so he made me a promise, or he made me promise him that if I could get a scholarship, that I would go.
So you had no plans of going to college
No,
in high school?
nobody in my
Are
family.
you first generation? Okay.
Yeah, nobody in my family had went. So I was like, oh, I'll graduate, get a job, help my parents.
Wow.
I got it. So that was not an aspiration at all.
No.
What were you planning to do? What did your vision for your life? To take care of your family? Just by doing a regular 9 to 5 job wherever you could get it?
Yes, that was my goal.
Wow.
Figure I'd get married, have kids, and
Stay on the north side.
stay on the north side.
she came on to the south side. Where it all happens. Shout out to
To the good side.
if you're from Houston, like this is north side, south side, Houston thing. But
Yes. But so your vision for yourself, once he spoke that into you, is that what changed your perspective, or did it take a while even after that for you to be like, I got this. I can be a boss chick?
I had so much respect, of course, love for Mr. Stewart, who I still talk to, that I honestly didn't know why he was encouraging me to go. I just figured he liked to preach to all of us.
he saw something in you.
Yes. And I was like, okay, Mr. Stewart, if you think I can go, then he even went and talked to my parents too.
Is this a black male teacher?
Yes, he went to
so
TSU.
few, male teachers and black male teachers. That's really important, right?
Yes.
To have that.
Yes.
Had that experience, because I can't recall any black male teachers that we had. I don't recall one at the school. Period.
A couple of substitute teachers here and there, but it's not one that I can recall that was consistent.
As diverse as Fort Bend is, we never.
Yeah.
So, and maybe, I mean, I was in HISD. I went to Barbara Jordan, or I graduated from Barbara Jordan. Yes. And so we had a good amount, and he was a drafting teacher. So that may have something to do with it. So he was in a more technical, discipline. But yeah, he went to TSU. He was in the Navy.
Okay.
And so he was very, very strict. But yeah, he was like, you're going.
So what did he talk to your parents about? Like, what was that conversation like?
He really talked to them about that I was very smart, that if they were worried about me going, that he was going to just watch out for me, that he would make sure that, I just stayed focused. So he really tried to make them feel comfortable with the idea, which is another reason why I ended up at U of H and not PV. Because I don't think they would have let me.
Right. They're like, no, ma'am, you will not go off and never come back home.
Exactly. So, and I even lived at home the first 2 years.
Okay. Is he why you ended up majoring in engineering?
Yes, okay. He is. I did mechanical drafting in high school. So that's what, and the scholarship, I got one scholarship. So the one scholarship I got is because I was the only person that put engineering on my application.
Really?
Wow.
Yes, and it was from Chevron.
Oh, nice. And so there you
go. Yes, that's how it started. But yeah, it took me moving to California in my 30s to realize that was my miracle. Wow. I didn't, it's like that's you have those moments. Yes, that was like that. One of those defining moments that changed my life.
Yeah. So tell us how you got to California. So from U of H to California.
Yes. So I actually started at FMC as a quality assurance engineer. So I did that for a while, working on subsea equipment. And then a headhunter actually contacted me, and then I came to Chevron.
Before that, you was at Frito-Lay a little
while,
too.
I was at Frito-Lay. Yes, okay. I was at Frito-Lay.
You started out there when you first graduated.
Yes.
And then you went to FMC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so Frito-Lay was great from a perspective of it gave me leadership, but I did not like it.
That was more like manufacturing.
Yes, I did eat the chips. And let me tell you, the warm chips, the Fritos, right when they come off of the conveyor belt when they're warm, girl, those are the best ones. I love doing the quality checks.
You're like, that crunchiness is on point.
That's it. That's the one right there.
Yeah, but I love Frito-Lay from that perspective where they did give you a lot of opportunity for leadership early on, but I just couldn't see any growth there.
Yeah.
And so I went to FMC, and I actually did like FMC. I just got called by a headhunter, and I kind of got an offer I couldn't refuse. Yep.
I love that you say that, because I was talking to one of my friends who's a recruiter yesterday, not about me transitioning, but just in general, like the experiences. And she was like, it's always good to market yourself, like to be open to that, your LinkedIn page, up to date and all of that. But a lot of people are scared to transition. So I love that you were even receptive to transition.
Yeah. And initially people were like, what are you doing? I wouldn't switch companies. And I mean, at first I thought about it. But at the same time, I was not, I wasn't happy at Frito-Lay. It's not Frito-Lay as a company. I did not see any room for progression. I mean, when you started looking at their leadership,
that's important.
It is.
And it was very rigid, just their whole the way that they, but again, it is manufacturing. So I could see how that would be their culture.
Right.
It just wasn't, that was not for me.
Not always a good fit though.
It just depends. It's a lot of military people go to Frito-Lay. And so they like that rigidness. I mean, I co-op at UPS, very similar to me in cultures. Yeah, that was not my thing.
And in those fast moving manufacturing environments, you have to have that rigidness, right? Because at the end of the day, they producing. So you have to make sure that when people come on board, you just fit them right on in, and you got to fall in line. So I get that, but it's not always appealing.
It's not.
Yes.
It's not.
Yes.
It's not.
Yeah. But they give you that taste of the market. Like FMC, I don't feel like you had that awareness of how critical the market is.
Yeah, so for a consumer product,
yes. Yeah. Now, later on, or I guess more recently in my career at Chevron, I feel like there's more of that attention to the market, which is probably where the shift goes from, being an engineer to being an executive. Is you have to have that awareness of where the company's going, how the market is performing, how you contribute to that. It makes a difference.
Absolutely.
A huge difference. So I went from FMC to Chevron, so Frito-Lay, FMC, Chevron. Once I got to Chevron, I did a lot of technical roles, mainly because the mentors that I had very early on, they were like, as a woman in oil and gas, you really need to focus on your technical skills, to be very
that
technical.
Was awesome advice.
Yes. And I got that advice from multiple senior level women. And so they were like, just find something that you're passionate about, that you can really grow technical depth in. And so since I had started when I started in oil and gas, on the quality assurance side, that's where I started building knowledge around non-destructive examination. So like ultrasonics, some more advanced technologies, but like basically the stuff that hospitals do, but instead we do it on pipe or we do it on metals, right? So you could do an x-ray and things like that. So I started growing my technical depth there. I started spending time, even at FMC, in the welding shop. So I would review welding procedures, or I got into reviewing like the chemistry of the metals. And so that's where I started growing my technical depth. Which
smart, girl.
that really is smart, because at GE, a lot of the young talent that comes into the company, they're used to jumping around every 2 years.
Yes.
And you don't build depth.
What are they called again?
It changes, but it's like operational leadership programs. And so they're so used to, like, they want to come in and they want to be a leader, like today, but then they don't have a true skill set. And they're used to doing, I was a purchase this and I was this and I was this, but you don't know nothing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They done did 5 roles and they're ready to be an executive.
And they're at this level.
Yes.
And not at
I love that
Exactly.
advice.
Yeah.
For the mentors there, did the company have a formal mentorship program, or did you have to find your own mentor?
It's been a bit of a mix. So I was a part of, so we have a women employees network, we have a Black employee network. So for all of the affinity groups, we have an employee network. And so as a part of WIN, it just happened to be a woman. Her name is Melanie Myers. She's now on the board of another oil and gas company. But at the time, she was president of our technology company, which was the business unit that I was in. And so we connected from that angle, and she just happened to be a very nice person that was like, hey, you want to talk about career development, which was great. So I didn't have to be I started a conversation with her and she just happened to be open to it. But I will say that I learned over my career how to be very intentional about establishing, I would call it stakeholders / mentors. And the reason why is because your technical knowledge will get you so far, but then becomes this time in your career where you're really being tested. I don't know a better way to say it, but you might be given a role and they're testing you. So I got this role that I think was an impossible task. I came into the role. it was we called it syrup. So, but it was all related to reliability and integrity. And so we have been trying to get to stage 1 validation in my pipeline business unit, and they hadn't been able to do it. And it was like over 5 years. They hadn't been able to do it. So I did not want the job, but they told me I had to apply for it. Of course I got it because I didn't realize all of the welding, the inspection, the materials. I didn't realize that all of that was integrity, asset integrity, until I got into this assignment. And so I get there and they're like, okay, well, we need stage 1 validation by September. And it was December. Like,
oh, wow. You're like, I have 9 months.
I have 9 months. I came in at the end of December. And so I just started researching everything, every process. I read it. I did a gap analysis to understand why we couldn't pass it. But then I also started looking at who the stakeholders were for that process. And I started setting up one-on-one 30-minute sessions with them, because I was like, there's no way I could do this by myself, right? So in these 30-minute sessions, I would just say, I really want to understand from your perspective, why haven't we been able to validate? What do you see them into the process?
Yes.
And then they were like, oh, well, I think we need to do, and I just started documenting everything. And so that way, every time I went into a meeting to give them updates, I would make sure that my updates included all of the things that they saw as opportunities. Girl, and so then
that's bomb.
They bought into
it. And it made them, you brought them into the process.
Yeah, that's really strategic.
And they felt part of the process.
Yeah,
yes,
that's good.
Yes. And then at the last 5 minutes, I would say, just if you ever have any thoughts about where you could see my career going at Chevron, just let me know. I'd be interested to get your feedback.
That's good.
And they did. And that's how I got to California.
And so California came after the test roll. Yes. It was like a result. It was a promotion.
And that's what they told me. They were like, because of your leadership capabilities, we're going to, it was leadership of a process. I had never led people at Chevron. And so they were like, well, if you can lead this process and get us in 9 months to stage 1 validation, let's see what you can do with a team of people.
And that was your first leadership role where you led a team. And the thing about even moving, you were here comfortable with your family.
Oh, yeah. Real comfortable.
And it's for the average woman, they be like, well, no, I can't move. My kids in school, my husband is.
Yeah.
Those are all things that we weigh on our shoulders, and it stops us.
It does.
It does.
Yeah. From advancing in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. So how did that conversation go with your family? How did you have the conversation with yourself? Is Patricia ready to take that leap of faith? Not only just leading people, but moving to an entirely different place. And California is a different world.
It's a completely different
Houston,
world,
right?
Yes, it is. I had an idea. I figured I had a little birdie that had, put a bug in my ear, just saying, would you be open? And so when the little birdie said that, I said, okay, I need to have a conversation with my family. At the time, my husband was rotating, so he could live anywhere. So what that means is that he would work. At the time, he was working in Angola for a month on projects. And then he was home for a month, so he could live anywhere.
So that made it more flexible.
It made it more flexible. I'll admit that. And then my daughter, she was in kindergarten, about to head into the first grade. And so we had this conversation because, of course, education is very important to me. And I wasn't sure about California education, and our son was much younger at the time. So it wasn't as much of a deal, but it still was important to me to find him a good preschool that he could thrive in. But yes, it was not an easy conversation. California is very expensive, and I will tell you, I'm so glad that we saved, because I don't know if we could Who could have lived there.
Expensive.
It's expensive. And the culture is different. And I know California people might feel a certain way. But when you're from the South, it's different. It's just different. Cali people, they move different. It's faster. You know, you have to find your circle of people. They don't just invite you in. You can't just go to the bar and meet a group of people. They're going to be like, who are you? Let me see your resume. I don't know if I should trust you. That's just, they're just different like that. Versus Houston, like, hey, come on. Like, let's go. It was a different vibe. And to be honest, Victoria did go backwards.
Okay.
She regressed. We put her in a public school in a very nice neighborhood, and it was just different.
It was different.
Yeah.
How long
Victoria
were you there?
liked
2
structure.
years?
Just 2 years. But yeah, Victoria liked structure, and it was a little bit more free, and that did not work for her. So we ended up putting them both in a Catholic private school.
Okay.
You have to find the right fit for your babies.
Yes.
We're talking about that.
Yes.
Now, I remember we had some interesting discussions when you were in California because you had some interesting folks there.
Yes.
So that was your first exposure to leadership, and you did that for 2 years, and then you had the opportunity to come back home.
Yes.
And
yes,
was
I
that
did.
your executive role at that point, or?
No, so my executive role is new. So, yes, California, I'll just say that people try to say that it's very inclusive, but Cali is very segregated.
And so,
and that was a different experience for me because Houston is a melting pot. I think we don't get enough credit for that, but Houston is a melting pot. And Cali is, I got a lot of questions about why I was living in a community that did not reflect me. I could go 4 or 5 days without seeing another Black person.
and they were like, why you here?
It was a culture
Do your
shock.
husband sell drugs or something?
Oh, he had to have been the NFL
Or a
player or
rapper.
something.
Yeah.
Something because that was interesting. I got yelled at. I had some experiences in Cali, and people will tell me, "Oh, it's because you lived in that neighborhood," and I'm like, "But should that matter though?" But anyways, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I think it's Cali is somewhere I think everyone should experience, maybe even live at least one time because it is so beautiful and there's a lot of opportunities. But I just also think that there's this.
I'm good.
Your team wasn't a very diverse team either.
It wasn't.
It was mostly men,
It was.
right?
I had one woman, and yes, my team was very hardcore Republican. But I will say this, that we learned a lot from each other.
Okay.
That's good.
We did. And we had some deep conversations about our differences. And I will say respect. I think, not saying that we 100% agreed with our views, but we had more respect for each other's viewpoints. And that was a big learning opportunity for me too, especially, I think they were surprised to find out that I didn't come from like generations of college educated people. And I think once I started breaking it down to them, like, no, one of my grandfathers was a truck driver. The other one used to farm. And then it kind of like,
the walls come down.
The walls came down. They were like, oh, okay.
We're not that much different.
We're not, exactly. Yeah. And we were able to have some very real conversations. So that taught me a lot about what kind of leader I wanted to be. And even to this day, we still talk. Like, I just talked to them a few weeks ago, and, we have a great relationship. Like one of the guys that gave me the hardest time, he's like 6'5", like big dude, like big country boy. He thought I was a diversity hire, which is fine. And
he told me you was a diversity.
Like, so many words, yes he did. In so many words, yes he did. But you know what? I left, that man cried. I swear to God, that man cried.
And he knew that you were qualified when
he
you
knew
walked
I was
in there.
qualified.
Wow.
And he was like,
because your qualified self was going back home.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, it was Yes, that was a huge learning moment. But yes, when I came back to Houston, it was intentional for us to be in the same city.
Yeah.
For my husband and I to be in the same city. And it worked for a little while until he started traveling again. But we've been here since. And I will say that taking that opportunity in California opened all of the other doors.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have this role had I not done that Cali
Man, we
role.
got to be open, ladies. We got to be open to the opportunities.
Yeah.
This chick who works with me, she had got tapped to go to France to work in a plant. And she was just like, I can't. Like, I have a small kid, my husband, and it's like all these, not excuses, but reasons as to why. But it's like you stunt the trajectory of your career when you're not flexible to move around.
That's true, but I also feel like, because I was given the opportunity to go to do 2 different assignments in Africa, and what you hit on was education. And for me, one of them was still developing, the other one was developed, but the infrastructure in terms of education was not great. And there's a wonderful expat community in one of the places and not the other that was just growing. And for me, it was important for my kids to have a quality education. If it had been somewhere else where things were, better in the educational space, I would have gone. But I was okay and understood, right, that may prohibit me from doing other things. Yeah. But my kids' education was of premier importance for me. My husband was open to going to somewhere else. I was open to going to somewhere else. Those were just not the right places for us to go.
Yeah. And that makes sense. The family has to.
Yeah. It ultimately has to make sense for your family.
Yeah. But the openness, your point, is just being open to even exploring the opportunity instead of shutting it down. You got to do your research and figure out, oh, wait, is this opportunity a great one for me or not?
Yeah.
Some people just, I'm not moving anywhere. I'm staying here, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's not a good. Yeah.
How important or significant did your mentors or sponsors play in where you are today?
Oh my gosh. So I want to say it was 2020. So I'll kind of backtrack a little bit. So before I took that asset integrity role, the syrup program manager role, I was a materials engineer. And I looked at our welding procedures. I was like, this is a no-go. And so I had us requalify all of the welding procedures to make sure that we met regulatory requirements. And so in the process of doing that, we had to validate the heat input. And so one of the more senior materials engineers that was in our technology company, he used that as basically like his thesis to become a Chevron fellow. So he utilized the work that I was doing in order to get his fellowship, which is a big deal at Chevron, especially if you're in a technical role. And so he wanted me to be technical because he was like, if you could do that, then you should become a Chevron fellow, which is, I don't think I'm that technical, but I really applaud him for having that kind of faith in me. But in 2020, when we were going through layoffs, he wanted to make sure I found a job. So he was like, let me know what roles you're applying to. He went through my internal resume, we call it GO400. So he went through my GO400, he marked it up, told me what to change. He literally went and sat in every room. Like when they were discussing me, he went in the room and he sat.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Because you need those sponsors to speak in the room
when you're not there.
When you are not there.
Yes.
For those discussions that you don't even know happening sometimes.
Right. But you positioned yourself, right?
Yes.
Because you did the work.
I did the work, yes.
Right. And so it was easy for him to go into the room, and he was willing to go into the room because he knew that when he put your name out there, that you were going to do exactly what he told him you were capable of doing.
Yes.
So hats off to you, because a lot of people want a sponsor or somebody to speak up for them, but they're not delivering what they should be delivering in the space that they're currently in. It's good for you to have done that work and to represent yourself well, for him to support you.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you spoke up too Even when you were in the other role, you were like, hey,
so
give me,
picky.
I'm open to feedback.
Right.
If there are roles that you feel like a good fit for me, like you put it out there that you were open and willing to connect with someone. That's something we don't do either. Because I talk about, we can't just go to work and put our head down and think we're going to do a good job. And somebody going to say, come on, let me promote you.
Yeah. You need to speak up
happen.
and advocate for yourself.
Yes.
And again, be strategic about the right people being in your corner. I love that.
Now, your sponsors, which you say don't look like you. Like the when I think about my career, the people who are rooted for me don't look like me. And it's mostly been white males.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm just now at a place where I have a Black female VP, right? But that wasn't the case at my prior company. Now, we did have a Black woman on the leadership team, and she was great. She was wonderful, but I don't know that her interest necessarily was promoting all of, I think that's a hard role sometimes for people to be in, right? Where it's like, okay, well, I can't say, yep, I'm supporting this Black girl and this Black girl too and that Black girl too, right? It's harder sometimes. And that's where I felt like the space she was in. But where I am now, she's like, nope, I'm supporting, as is my white, male boss and others, right? So sometimes I think we need them, right? We need those allies, the people that truly support you. Because when there are the few of us that do get to those certain levels, I think sometimes the conversation in our heads is like, well, I don't want to look like I'm favoring people. So you have to go out and get a different sponsor sometimes. Yeah,
you do. And the pool is just larger.
It's larger
for the other groups. And I do think there's a bit of it of what's in it for them too. Like, I feel that the relationship should go two ways.
That was our latest post. Mentorship is not one sided. Yeah. And Tia, who sat with us, was like, "Hey, what's in it for me? Right. You want me to mentor you? You want me to sponsor you? What's in it for me?"
What am I to do it? But I also, there's a mutual, benefit to both of us, right? And that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And that's something that we have to definitely.
You can't go in like, oh, what are you going to do for me? You should have done this.
Yeah. So I love that for you. So it sounds to me like you've had a fulfilling career, right? With different experiences, different challenges, new opportunities, but you decided to start a side business, right? Outside of that corporate world. So how did you decide, hey, I want to keep my secure bag, right? But still pursue a passion, which I presume is a passion of yours. Can you tell us about that journey?
Yeah. So funny enough, it was around the same period where Chevron was about to do this massive layoff. And I was like, I have no plan B. And I really started thinking about, why don't I have a plan B? And it's really just rooted in, I feel like that's what we're taught. Go to work hard, and I believe I'm very loyal. I definitely see myself retiring from Chevron, but there was also this other part where it's like, stuff happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
So where does that leave me? And so I had several ideas that I had toyed around with, but I do remember going to Barbara Jordan. One of my really good girlfriends, Marsha, she actually got her cosmetology license in high school. And she's still a cosmetologist. And that always just stuck out in my mind because it's a trade. Like I work with operators, mechanics, electricians. It's a really good trade that someone can have and create a good life for themselves. And so I was like, this could be a good way to give back and create opportunities for people. So that's really where it started. And I just started working on it little by little and finally got funding, went through the construction and, so it's my other child.
You built it from the ground up.
Yes.
Okay. You, Miss Engineer, are a boss.
Yes, she is.
Yes, you did not find the space and lease it. You built it.
Yeah.
I love that. So one of the things that Tasha and I talked about one day was I have never, and this is a just from my experience, I have never met a white woman that's like, oh, I got a side hustle, right? That's doing something aside from going to work and being a mother or a wife or a wife, right? I feel like the conversations that I have with the women in my circle or just the other Black women that I know, we all have a hustle or something else. And I'm trying to figure out, just like you said, that's what we were taught, right?
Yes.
Is that everything is not always going to be available and accessible to us. Has that been your experience where you feel like it's a Black woman thing that
I do. I think that I think we operate differently. I really do. I think that we understand that things are not going to be given to us. And so we understand that we have to work a little bit different. We have to move a bit different. We understand that, most of the time if we're in a meeting, people aren't going to necessarily go to us. So we have to create the space that we want for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not automatic.
it's not automatic?
And so I do think that it creates a different type of drive in us. So, even I think about a lot of the other women in my life, like my grandmothers, my mom, and when I think about that, they definitely were not sitting still.
No.
They were trying to figure out how to improve what they had, even if what they had was small. Yes. I always remember my mother May. I always remember, because she always just had all of these nuggets. And one of the things that she would say is that no one should know where you come from by the way that you speak and by the way that you present yourself. And it took me until I was older to really understand what she meant. Yeah. But, she got married when she was 15, and she, had children, of course, at a very, very early age. And so she spent a lot of her time trying to define who she was and not be governed by this stereotype or image that people may have had of her. And when you would not know that this woman had a 5th grade education. She worked as a cafeteria lady at, the elementary school that everybody went to in our neighborhood. But you wouldn't know that by talking to her because she was very, very financially savvy. She had a home. She always had nice cars and had a 5th grade education. Yeah. You would not know that by looking at the way she dressed or by talking to her. And so I really do believe that, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you move, I have people that think I went to an Ivy League school at Chevron. I didn't. I went to U of H. Right. But people want to tell themselves that because they can't, they're like, wait, this doesn't make sense. But it really doesn't matter how you start. It matters how you finish. It matters how you continuously grow and improve yourselves. Yeah. And I think having a business is a way of really defining who I am. It's not about Chevron. It's not about anything else. It's about me. This is something I did, something I created that defies anything that anyone else ever told me that I could do. Yes. So I don't know where it's going to lead, exactly where it's going to go, but I feel very fortunate. I feel very blessed to have been able to experience this part of life. Yeah. But I think there's a bit of it where I think Black women, we understand that we are going to always have to recreate ourselves. We can't get boxed in.
Yeah, I agree with that, because when you were talking, my mom, I remember when I was growing up, she was working at an oil and gas company, and she also had a business, right? She had it was like a copying business, like a Xerox copying place where people could come and they could also mail things, and she could create posters and things for them. And she did that for several years. And then she stopped doing that, but then she went back to school to finish and get her bachelor's degree, which she had gone to school and stopped because of life.
Having kids, yes.
Then later, I was in middle school when she graduated from college. And then when I was in law school, she went back to, school to get her master's degree. And so I feel like she was reinventing herself all the time and trying to find those areas of purpose for herself.
Yeah.
Went back and counseled kids and did that when she had a full-time job.
Yeah.
But she
That's
saw
amazing.
part of herself, right, in that work, not in where she was working in the corporate setting.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad. She loved her job. She loved the people she worked with. But again, it's that void of not seeing people that look like you all the time, or not being in spaces with people that have the same shared values, true, like deep down shared values. And I think that's why we pursue other things sometimes, not because we're unhappy in the settings that we're in, but because there is a part of us that isn't there. That's not seen there.
And for me, it's a fear of knowing that I could come to work one day and get a blue slip. Like that, right? And so it's like, how am I gonna feed my kids? I don't really, personally, I don't go to work to be fulfilled in any special way. I want to do a good job. I want you to pay me on time. That is it.
Is it the first? Is it the 15th?
Whatever it is. Am I meeting your
other
expectations?
Friday.
I want to exceed your expectations. It could be some ebb and flow there, but am I paid on time?
Yeah.
I don't have to be fulfilled in a special way. I can get fulfillment through friends, through other things, through children, for me. But it's like, I understand that one day I can show up and they be like, here you go. And it's nothing personal. It don't matter who you are, right? It's for them. It's like a business decision. So for me, it's like, how am I gonna feed my child?
Right.
How am I gonna make sure that my mom is good? Make sure that she has what she needs. How am I gonna make sure that I have a roof over my head? So it's almost like this fear sometimes for me personally, that it could be taken away. It's like, so I don't take it for granted. In a sense. But my dad was like a Jamaican. It's like, it's in me to have all these different things.
Bro, your daddy
Everybody got a side hustle.
He was a master hustle, and he had a degree. He went to TSU and had a degree and worked for the railroad, retired there, had a tax office, did sprinklers. He did sprinklers. He sold cars. He sold car wax. He had a cleaners. Like, I could just go on and on. Like, he started his own marketing company with network marketing. It's like all of these things. He was investor, trader, all of these things. He was always on a journey to do more and improve himself. And so that's in me too. So for whatever it looks like, and I could be compelled one day to show up at work and be like, okay, I'm ready to go to the next level at work, or I want to go to the next level there. I don't know. But it's just, I love the fact that many of us, we realize that we don't have anything given to us. We got to take it. We have to take it. So I love that for you, Patricia. And I just want, your spa is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful.
I'm scheduling my facial.
Schedule your facial.
Today.
Schedule your facial. Let us give us the location. It's in, if you're in Houston, it's in not downtown Houston. It's like downtown. East downtown Houston. East downtown. Okay. Give us the address.
I used to live on Grove
and I'm gonna
Street.
Put it in
on what street?
On Grove Street, right there.
It's really close.
Jensen Meadow and Gregg was the exit.
Yeah, it's really close. I mean, you could take Polk. Polk is probably a good exit, but it's at 1102 Delano Street, Delano, Delano Street. So Houston, Texas, 77003.
And what services do you provide?
Girl, everything. Hair, nails. We do Botox and fillers, facials, massages, lashes.
Love it.
Yeah, it's very clean.
Yes.
It's luxe. When you walk in, it's luxe.
You did say that. She was like, girl, it is a luxe feel in there. It's you had your soft opening, and she was like, girl, it's nice. So yeah, I love that for you. What are some things that you learned along this journey of opening up this business? Like, what's the, probably like the largest lesson that you were like, if maybe you knew this before, you would have done something different, or something was like, hey, this is what I learned and I can take this with me to another project.
From a construction standpoint, real talk, I would put a clause in the contract that if they get delayed, they got to pay.
Yeah.
That's one. The other one, I would say it's very hard to find the right people to work for you. Even leasees, the leasees haven't been too much, but I still have to be cautious. But employees can make a very big difference with the vibe of
the culture
and the culture.
Yeah, I mean, when people come, that's who they gonna see. So if they turn off one person, it won't take long for just it to spread like
people
a
are not
fire.
forgiving. People will go on social media and slam a business.
Yeah, like don't come to work if you had a bad day. It ain't my fault.
Exactly.
And it's like,
person mama could have died. You don't care. Like what you come to work for?
They don't care.
They do not care. So it is important, right, to have the right people.
It is extremely important.
Even the best people can have bad days, and it's not forgiven. The consumer business people are just not.
They're not. And document all of that in your employee handbook. I mean, it may seem
it's a good point,
but document it.
Yeah.
Because if you end up having to let the person go, the first thing they're going to ask is, did you make it clear that was your expectation for that employee?
Absolutely.
And so if it's not documented, even if it's something as simple as washing your clothes, you can document that in an employee handbook that clothes must be clean.
Yeah.
You would think you don't have to tell people that.
But you do.
You
do. Body odor. Little things that you don't think about. Those are the things that need to be in there.
Yes.
And that's what's important when it comes to starting a business. Because I think for people who just want to start a business sometime, I think, I'm going to open up this service. And they don't think through all of the things, the handbook, like how you should train people, how you need to document.
Yes.
How when we talk about this term, entrepreneurship, I don't know if this is a real term, but
doing the corporate and your side business at the same time.
At the same time.
Entrepreneurship.
And you take the experience from your corporate business and you incorporate that into your business. So has working in corporate America with major companies, has that helped you with how you define and create your business?
Business,
Yes, I would say 100%. I think I appreciate the corporate world a lot more because there is so much rigor that's built in that I think we take for granted.
Structure.
Yes. It's good to have had that experience. I appreciate it a lot, and I also feel that it's nice to have that security because. Otherwise it takes a long time for your business to become profitable. But I still have my paycheck to rely on, which, helps a lot. So, yes. So when people are like, I'm going to be a boss chick, I'm going to quit my job. I'm like, whoa. Hold up, sis. Hold on. I love the enthusiasm. I love it.
Right.
I know Beyonce has everybody pumped up, but yes.
But that's a real thing, right?
Yes.
And you like your job, so that's another, it's like, I actually like it. So I will continue to get paid while I do this other thing that I like as well.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years, Patricia?
And okay, so I'm going to think about this from 2 different perspectives, or maybe even 3. So my kids are getting older, so I see them being in college, and so I feel that I would have a little bit more leeway to do some things that I would love to do. Like I would love to take a residential assignment in a different country.
Yes.
So, because right now your assignment is, so you do rotations. You're rotating in Nigeria.
Yes, I
4 weeks on, 4 weeks off.
Yes,
on a boat.
On a boat. Yes.
And so
in Lagos.
Right outside. I'm off the coast of Lagos. Yes.
And so she's doing all of this
in this business.
And running a business.
Yes.
Girl, this is why I feel like,
she was like, girl, I look up to her. I've been looking up to her every day since 1999. Girl. Oh, Lord.
No, that is just, it's just
so
admirable.
like 24 hours, like 22, 24
Basically.
hours to get there.
To get there, yeah. It's like a whole thing.
I've been there 3 times. I was like, Lord.
Yeah, and then there's a
go
big time
home.
difference.
It's a huge time difference.
Yes.
It's 6 or 7 hours, depending on which time of the year it is.
Yeah, so I stay in daily communication with my team for my business. I have hey, here's some of the things that we need to do. But it is hard. I mean, now when I opened, I didn't know I was going to be doing this assignment.
Yeah.
I will say that. But I mean, I do have a manager on site, which is very helpful. Yes. But we are talking every day. But
And the thing that I love about the type of business that you chose, because again, I think for us, we are quick to do a side hustle. And a side hustle requires you to always be there. And
Yes.
Ain't no jewelry getting sold if I don't make it.
Right.
that's true.
Ain't no podcast being done if I ain't sitting here talking.
Yeah. You need to be in that seat.
You can't be. This is what we need to be thinking about when we think about building businesses, right? Because the scalability of it can run without you being there.
Yes.
Not to say that you
present.
don't ever need to be there, right? But if you need to grow it, if you want to open up 10 stores, you can implement it and not have to be there. So for us, I want us to realize, women of color, men of color, like when we think about businesses. Really, unless it can be ran without you,
right?
It's really a side hustle.
It is.
And so it's like, how do we get over that hump of not just having a side hustle, but really having a business?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
fair.
That's what I want for us.
Yeah.
So I love that idea because you can take this and grow it, and it, you can retire from it if that's what you choose to do, right? And not have to be there. So you on a boat off the shore of Nigeria.
I cannot be there.
You're still coming in and you're still making money. It's amazing.
Exactly.
What are some things that help you even manage, I know your kids are older now, so they're probably a little bit more independent and your husband is there, but do you get outside help to come in and help with anything? To help manage your house?
So I will admit that I'm a little bit of a crazy woman. I accept that about myself. Okay. But before I leave, I do cook. I cook a lot.
For the family, so they can just warm it up?
Yes. And I put food in the freezer. And that typically will get them 2 weeks. And then my mother-in-law, she will bring food.
Okay. So you have some help that
You
comes.
are still taking care of your children when you're not there.
Yes. And then I do have a cleaning lady. She comes every other week.
Okay. And I ask that because I think sometimes, even myself, I feel guilty about, having somebody clean. I just this feeling that I have to do everything. And it's you can release that. You can outsource that.
You can outsource things.
You should outsource it.
Because you're employing somebody, essentially, right? You're giving them, it's going back to the mutuality, right? You're freeing up your time to do something, but you're also helping contribute to somebody else's family because there are people that need work and want to do the work.
They're really good at it.
Do a great job, right? Because these space boys would be looking real rough.
Raggedy.
If it was
and I'm contributing to my mental health. Right. So and it's part of mental health too, right? Absolutely.
You are alleviating that stress.
That mental, I need to do something. So ultimately your goal would be to live full time, in another country.
I would love to do that at least for, I would love to do that for a while. To be honest with you, I would love to just retire in a different country. And I would love to have a bed and breakfast or a little, I would just, and live on the beach. That
Can I invest in you?
Yeah.
Look, I'm and wherever you go, I'm coming to visit.
Right.
So just,
I'm being safe.
I love having friends in other places.
Yeah.
Go do a beachfront.
Yes,
Bed
girl.
and breakfast.
Yes. Listen, girl, listen. Because I have looked in, where was I? Cancun. Where I went there trying to find a place. Is there a place here?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that a lot of them, they require cash for foreign, investors. But I think I need to look into that further. But I was talking to a realtor and they were saying that. And I'm like, okay, because I don't want to give all my cash to that. But I might.
Look, I think it's great that you can even be open to that idea. But yeah, I love that. Like I said, I have really admired you for a really, really long time. And I'm glad you touched on it. Like how you presented yourself has always been posed. So I've never even seen you worked up. We've had tough conversations even in college of, of coursework and things not going the way that we wanted it to go. And you are always just so calm. Like me, like I'm freaking out. These people get on my nerves. He said I ain't gonna make it through these classes. And so but you have always been just so resilient, and I love that about you, that no matter what comes your way, it's like you're a problem solver. And that's what it takes, to make it. And I just can't wait what this next chapter of life looks like for you, because your story is not over, right? I think like I'm going to be reading about you in Forbes or something. Yeah. And so I can say, she came to our podcast. I know, Patricia, that's my friend. And every time I meet somebody that works where you work, I'm like, my friend? She does. And there are people like, oh my God, that's your friend? Oh my God. I'm like, that is my friend. I've been on her since 1999.
I knew her already.
And the thing that I love about you,
that you're not in. Thank you.
Yes.
In a different way.
And Patricia has always been that same chick.
Yeah.
Like when you meet her, you wouldn't even know like the type of position she holds. She gonna always be down to earth, be humble. And I just love that about you.
Thank you.
Even like I love seeing your kids grow. It's like I can see the love that you pour into them. It's just, girl, look, I love you, friend. And I just want to give you flowers today. Thank you for coming to speak to us and blessing our Bloom fam.
Yes, blessing our Bloom fam. Thank you.
Like Boss Chick squared, Boss Chick quadrupled. What else you got?
That's it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Our space.
Yes.
And sharing your story.
This is
it
fun.
will help other people, and it's helped us for sure.
Yes, for sure. And we're gonna put your spot information in our in the YouTube and on Instagram so people can find you. And so I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. So Bloom fam, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.